Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned. I had a dream about a Care Bears chess set, and I woke up, ran to my computer, and started Googling Care Bears chess set. It does not exist. There's no such thing as a Care Bears chess set. So as I'm sitting there looking at this, it was a Care Bears checkers set that came up. I'm sitting there looking at it, and it's like, well, if there is no Care Bears chess set, that means I'm the first person to think of one, and it's my job to make one. Then I started thinking about how am I going to partition the sides, white pieces, black pieces, when it comes to Care Bears. And how do you rank them? How do you rank the Care Bears as the king, queen, bishop, rook, and stuff like that? And I started thinking about that, and then I realized I had been thinking about Care Bears for about a half an hour. And so I stopped. Why was I doing that? Don't research stuff you dream about, is I guess what I'm getting at. Anyway, welcome to Shock Monkey Radio. I'm your host, the Madman. I would like to remind you that I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today, or you can send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word. You can also follow me on social media over here if you like. As you see, we don't have the green screen down. We got it all rolled up, and some people think it's like, oh, you keep talking about being in a studio. You're in a studio? Okay. It's like, it's probably you're in your mom's basement with the green screen. It's like, no, the green screen's rolled up, and we got the sound dampening stuff here for when, like, how do I put this? Like, high quality audio needs to be recorded. Like, you know, if you're a vocalist, you can record a vocalist in this room. FXVG Public Radio, check them out. Yeah, so it was my birthday this past Monday. Thanks for all the birthday wishes. Because of Facebook, birthdays have kind of become tedious. You know, I woke up on my birthday and it's just my timeline. People just posting like crazy, like, happy birthday, happy birthday. I get it. Thank you. But at the same time, I feel some sort of obligation to go in there and hit click like to each one. You know, thank you. I appreciate it and so forth. And I do appreciate it. And then, you know, maybe some people will like to do the thing where they don't acknowledge all the stuff that goes off on their on Facebook during their birthday. And then the next day they'll say, I just want to thank everybody for the birthday wishes. Maybe that's what I should have done. But I don't like doing that. I'd rather just go through and like each one. It's a minimal amount of interaction. You know, and it's, yeah, I'm just not an outgoing guy. This is the most outgoing thing I do in my life. And a lot of people are surprised that I do it. It's like, how do you sit there and talk for an hour? You usually really quiet for long periods of time. You're really quiet. And I was like, yeah, because I'm thinking. I like to think my thoughts. Don't you like to think your thoughts? I love thinking my thoughts. I hate when I have to think other people's thoughts. It's not mine. I shouldn't have to. It's not mine. I shouldn't have to carry it. So birthdays on Facebook. Can we stop with this? I don't know. Sorry. You got the pictures pulled up ready to go, right?
Oh, yeah.
You the man. EK's the man. This is going to be the third week we're talking about this. The third week. All right. 2 weeks ago, I did a little thing about why you shouldn't, you know, touch yourself around cats. And a lot of people had stuff to say about it. And so I mentioned it again last week. And people are like, you said that, you know, you're trying to prove that you don't like cats, or that you do like cats, and then you're going to apologize by giving a story about cats, and the story was about a cat being accidentally shipped in an Amazon box, and you're laughing the whole time while telling the story. So you really hate cats. You like being cruel. You like when cruel things happen to cats, like being shipped in an Amazon box. And you know, of all the things I talk about on this show, this is the most feedback I've ever gotten. All right, and it's driving me crazy. So we're going to talk about cats for a little bit more, and then that's it. I'm not going to talk about cats anymore. This cat is the only cat I ever loved. This is Boots. Maine Coon cat. I think it's something because of the marking, or maybe just white people wanted to get away with saying coon. I don't know. That's the type of breed it was. A Maine Coon cat. We got it when it was a little kitty when I was in high school. All right. A cute little fur ball. He grew into an adult, and he would hunt like the spiders and stuff they got in the house. He'd bring them to the top of the stairs. He'd bring his kill to the top of the stairs and sit there proudly until someone noticed it, and then he would eat it. All right? He was a vicious killer. Don't be fooled. But I love this cat because he purred really loudly. He would jump up in your lap. It was funny. It was like, and just like for about 5, 6, 7 minutes, and all of a sudden he would stop and run off, and you feel like abused. You're like, you cad, Boots. What have you done? Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's like, plus, why do you got to be so in such a hurry? But I mean, he cuddled with everybody. He liked everybody in the house. He did like me. I liked him. All right? I just don't like the fact that, for some reason the dog had to go outside, but the cat gets to poop wherever it wants and throw up in the middle of the hallway whenever it wants. All right? I'm not complaining. Yeah, I am complaining. I'm complaining. All right? But Boots also do really cute things, too. Like, he'd be sitting there watching TV. He loved the light switch in the hall. He'd be sitting there watching TV. Light goes on in the hallway. Boots, stop. Watch a TV for a little bit longer. Lights goes off in the hall. And you walk up to him, and he's sitting there crouched by the wall, trying to get that perfect angle to jump up there and flick the light switch again. He's a weird cat. He was our cat, so he was going to be weird. And, yeah, I liked this cat. I liked him. One day, he got out. He was an indoor cat. He got out, and I didn't know. And I came out one morning, get in my car, and I hear this meowing come from under my car, coming from under my car. And I go up there, and there's Boots. He's shaking like crazy. I was like, what happened? How'd you get out, first of all? And where have you been out all night? Probably. And so, and I looked at him, and all around his butt was burnt and singed. So I don't know if, like, some neighborhood rapscallions, like, did something like, I don't know, stick a firecracker up the cat's butt, or like set him on fire or something like that. But Boots was really scared and really trembling and stuff like that. I brought him back in the house, cut away the burnt fur around his butt, and gave him a bath, which he didn't like. It was like, you're gonna, now you, I trusted you. And I don't know what happened to him. But, I mean, he lived several years after that. But, I mean, it was just one of those things where I wish I could have caught the guys doing it. Because you hurt my cat. And if you think, I did care about that cat. But it's the only cat I ever liked. All right? When I joined the Navy, when I was in boot camp, about a couple of months after I left, one day Boots got into my room, grabbed a pair of my underwear, brought it to the top of the stairs, which is basically like his pulpit. That's where he stands to address everybody. So he comes up there and he puts my underwear at the top of the stairs. It just starts meowing loudly. He wasn't a big meower. Meowing loudly. And it's like, where's the guy who made these farts? They smelled delicious. I don't know why it was my underwear. It's just something he got a hold of. And so he brought it to the top of the stairs, like almost asking where I was to my family. And I thought that was kind of cute. Showed him maybe he had affection for me as well. Yeah, a few years later, he got a urinary tract infection or something like that, and was drinking lots and lots of water and not really eating. He was hanging out down at the bottom of the stairs where it was cooler, and eventually died. And that's the story of Boots, the only cat I ever loved. Buried him in the backyard. We had a cat when I lived up in Lake Placid named Sarah, because we got her in Saranac Lake, and that cat bit my mother's on the foot, and it got infected, and we had to get rid of that cat. When my sister went to college, she picked up a stray, and she picked up the stray because she woke up in the one morning to hear this very loud meowing outside of her apartment. So she comes out of her apartment and finds this cat there. She ends up adopting and calling Nellie. And this cat was meowing every morning, so she said, oh, it's meowing, she must be hungry. So she fed the cat, and the cat ended up squatting at her house. And eventually our house for the rest of its life. And every single morning, this cat woke up and would stand outside who was ever at home's door and meow and meow and meow until you came out and fed her. I didn't like that cat. Didn't like the cat that bit my mom. I liked Boots. I like way more dogs. There's a very small percentage of dogs I don't like. But when it comes to cats, a large majority of them I don't like. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're mad. I don't know why people on the internet care so much about what other people think about cats. I don't even know why I'm talking about this. I'm done talking about it. No more cats.
You think that we're talking about the musical?
The musical? That's possible. But I hate that even more than cats. Than real cats. Cats the Musical is probably the worst musical ever. I've seen some bad ones. No more cats. All right. I got into a Fender Bender a couple weeks ago. Did I tell you about this? Yeah, I was stopped at a stoplight, and the light turned green, and someone was like waiting for a yield to a left turn from the other direction. And so the line stopped, and then this guy behind me, boom, bumped me. And I was like, let's go. And he followed me, and we pulled up off the side of the road. And it's a kid. He's like 17 years old. All right. He's scared. You can see it in his eyes. His pupils are real big and stuff like that. I get out of the car, and I look at the damage. And Fenders these days, they're amazing. They're amazing. It's like it took the bump. There's almost like no damage. His license plate was bent a little bit, and that's it. You know, there's no real damage on my car. And so I looked at him and said, "Are you all right?" He didn't even get out of the car. I'm up and look outside the car. Usually men get out of the car and say, "Let's look at the damage." But he's just sitting there in his car. So I walk a little closer up to him, and he's got his license and registration out on his leg, like he had been like driving to like get behind me, and he's immediately getting his license and registration out. I'm not a cop, dude. He never got out of the car the entire interaction. I said, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, I'm okay." And it's like, doesn't look like much damage. And he's like, "Yeah, I didn't think there's much damage." And it's like, your license plate is bent up a little bit, thinking maybe he'd want to come out of his car and take a look. No, he didn't. He just sat there. And I was like, "Well, since everyone's okay and there doesn't seem to be any damage, I think I'll just be on my way." And he's like, "Oh my God, thank you for being so cool about this, dude. Oh my God. Oh." And I could see like in his like hands were shaking and stuff. And I felt like Michael Corleone in The Godfather, where the florist is sitting there, his hands are shaking after the mob guys go by, and Michael Corleone's hands aren't shaking as he lights a cigarette. You know, I felt like that because this kid, he was like, it's like, is this old man going to get out of the car and kick my ass? That guy outweighs me by at least 100 pounds. So he's going to drag me out of my car and whoop my ass because of a fender bender. So I'm sitting there. I explained to him, it's like, well, he said that I'm a new driver. And I was like, you're 17, 18? New driver? Okay. And he's like, "I'm a new driver." And I was like, "Okay, well, if you've been driving as long as I have, you understand that you'll have like 5 or 6 of these in your lifetime. You know, sometimes it's, your fault. Sometimes it's someone else's fault. And so, just be safe, watch out. And, especially when these things, because some people yield, they don't know when to yield, and people are morons on the road. You know what I mean?" And he's like, yeah, people are dumb out here. And I was like, yeah. But I liked the kid. I said, "Well, if everything's okay, if you're all right, then I'll just be on my way." And he's like, "Okay, thank you so much for being cool about it." It's like, "Absolutely, no problem, bro." And I got in my car and I left. I'm sure he did too. I remember like when I first started driving, I had a fender bender with a guy on Route 3. And I hit him and I was like, "Oh, God. Oh no, I'm gonna have to get insurance. My insurance is gonna go up because I'm 16 years old, So I hit this guy. He pulled over, and we both got out like men. We both got out of the car, inspected the damage. My car was more damaged than his because he was a truck and he was kind of higher up, and so more damage was on my end. And so the guy said, "Are you all right?" And he's like, "Yes." "Well, I'm fine. This doesn't seem to be much damage. It seems like most of the damage is on you, but the whole thing is on you." So I was like, "That's fair enough, sir." But he's like, "There's no reason to get the law involved. There's no reason to get insurance involved." And that was basically what I said to the kid, too. It was like, after getting a ticket for flicking a cigarette butt, I don't want to get arrested because I'm smoking a cigarette while a cop's taking a police report over a fender bender. And I don't know. It seemed to me like almost because he got pulled out his license and registration that like he thought I might bring the law into it. And I wonder if they've been the other way around. If I had hit him and he would have thought that I need to bring the law into this. I need to get a statement. I need to get like the insurance claim and all this stuff. You know, I wonder if that's what he would have done in my position. But I guess I'm just, I don't know, old school or seasoned or just don't trust the government at all. But I'm like, why would you need to bring the law into a situation like this? And I think that, you know, we could think about a lot of stuff that we do when people call the cops. Is like, maybe you shouldn't call the cops over that. Anyway. Just settle it like men. You know what I mean? Nice kid. All right. I was thinking about positive racism. You ever think about positive racism? Do you? What first thing popped in my head is like, you bang that Asian chick? High five, bro. All right. Or maybe even once you go black, you never go back. Is that positive racism or is it just racism? I think it's probably just racism. You know, I mean, I guess it's like a positive. You say you bang that Asian chick. It's probably because they know that Asian chick is hot. You know what I mean? And so, because there is a such thing as ugly Asian women. Anyway, and when it comes to like, if you once you go black, you never go back. I think it's more like they fell in love with a person, and the skin color, anything about them like that is irrelevant to the being, you know, falling in love. You know, and I think it's cute. I think it's cute. You say once you go black, you never go back. It's like that means it's like I fell in love with one guy, we got married and stayed together forever and ever, because that's the story. You know, that's how the story usually goes, isn't it? So I don't know. What I'm saying is that positive racism probably isn't a thing. But I do want to bang Asian chicks. You know, it's funny because you think about this stuff when you're, I don't know, your testosterone's the highest, 18, 19, and you think, I would like to bang a chick from every single race there is. I want to sample every single flavor at the ice cream shop and pick the one I like the best. You have those kinds of thoughts when, I think a lot of these people who transition from female to male don't understand that, like, a lot of a male's thought process is stuff like that. I want to bang every single type of chick in the world.
That one counts as two.
Some count as 2 or 3. Oh, she's German and Jewish.
Nice.
2 check marks right there. Anyway, I got some time. I was wary about doing this segment. I've been wary about doing it for a while because I find it so ridiculously boring. You could bring up that picture if you had a phone call or something like that. Yeah, the Kenny Rogers one. Yeah. I find Texas Hold'em to be ridiculously boring, but I played this casino game and there's a bunch of people like, hey, you're pretty good at Texas Hold'em. And I was like, there's no such thing. Texas Hold'em is all luck. And they're like, no, you're good. You win consistently. It's like, why don't you do your show? Because everyone knows I do the show on that game. Why don't you talk about how to play Texas Hold'em on your show? And I was like, it's so boring. See, I play complicated games. I play role-playing games. Texas Hold'em is boring to me. I play that casino game when I'm watching a video of something else. I'm watching a video on the Second Punic War, and I'm just playing Texas Hold'em. They're like, oh, I'm winning? Oh, I won? Okay. You know, it's so like background noise to me. Playing a game like this is so ridiculously simple. I always say that Texas Hold'em is just a very slow community slot machine. All right? And to be honest, it's like if you want advice on how to play Texas Hold'em, it's really all contained in the Kenny Rogers song. You got to know when to hold 'em, you got to know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run, and you never count your money while you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough accounting for it when the dealing's done. That beautiful line of poetry sums up how to play Texas Hold'em. All right. First of all, you get 2 cards. I'm not going to pretend like you don't know anything about how to play Texas Hold'em. All right. Shit, I'm starting to get bored already. All right. You get two of the pocket cards, right? And so as soon as you know your cards cannot win, you need to fold them. That's to run away. Okay. Folding immediately is running away. However, if you can continue the game for as long as possible with just checking, that's walking away. As soon as you know your 2 cards can't win, you either walk away or you run. All right? And you run when somebody wants more money. All right? However, if you get two good pocket cards, like say an ace and a 5 or something like that, that's something you want to stick with and maybe bet on. But don't never raise on your own unless you're going all in. We'll get to that. All right? So you get a flop. You got the ace and the 5. You get a flop, right? And there's another ace on the table. Now, you can't get excited about having a pair of aces, all right? Because it could be a straight or a flush still coming, all right? You can't really be confident until every single card is out or mathematically you know you're going to win, all right? So say you got the 2 aces out. You can't get excited, all right? Because there's more cards coming out and there could be a straight that could beat your aces, all right? Plus, don't get excited about things like pocket aces. Pocket kings or something like that. You can't get excited. That's how people know that you got good cards. What you do is you check every time. Unless you know you can beat anyone else on the table, if somebody else's raises, then you call. All right? And once mathematically you know you are going to win, then you go all in. That's the only time you go all in. All right? And when it comes to Texas Hold'em, you can't be thinking you're going to have a short game. You got to park there for a while. You got to stay in the game for a while. And you're folding a lot of hands. All right? If you're going to win, you got to fold a lot of hands. All right? And you can't get excited about things like an ace or something like that. Or say you get like a 9 and 10 in your pocket, and then a jack, queen, king comes out in the flop, and you're thinking, oh man, I got a straight. This is mine. I'm going all in. And then the next 2 cards, the turn and the river come out, and boom, somebody else has got a flush. All right? That's a bad time to raise. Bad time to raise. So you got to know. You got to know. Sometimes you'll know. It's like sometimes you even got to gamble that you're going to get a flush. All right? And that's the actual gambling part of it. All right? So say you got like 2 clubs in your pocket, and then 2 clubs come out in the flop. All right, you got 4. That's 4 clubs. That could be a flush, but somebody else has got a couple, like 2 pair. You could tell, right? But for 2 more cards, there's a 25% chance one of them is going to be a club. It might be worth like calling until you realize that you don't have a flush, and then you fold. You run. So knowing when to hold them, knowing when to fold them, knowing when to walk away, knowing when to run. All right. You got to do that for a long time. What was the other line? Is like, never count your money while you're sitting at the table. The blinds will swing like crazy. The blinds will swing like crazy. And you have to stick to your formula. You have to stick to this. It's like, as soon as you know you can't win, throw them away. As soon as you know you will win, all in. You got to keep playing by it. So when the chips start swinging like crazy later in the game, when the blinds get real high, you can't be intimidated by that. You can't be intimidated by the giant stacks of chips that are moving around. All right? I mean, it's all contained right there in the song. And there's even other lessons in there, like don't get high on your own supply in that song. Because the gambler, he stole that dude's whiskey and bummed his cigarette. And the light. Don't get high on your own supply. There's a lot of good life lessons in that song. But mostly, it's how to play Texas Hold'em. And that's what I just explained to you. And if you need more to understand this incredibly simple game, there's only 52 cards on the deck, right? Can you keep track of 52 things? I can keep track of hundreds of things. I mean, I think it was like one time I went and I played like poker with somebody, and the only time he beat me was when he got me. This was back when I was young and adventurous. He got me incredibly stoned, and he finally beat me in cards. And it's like, that was the only time I couldn't handle counting up, 52 things. Keeping track of 52 things. It doesn't seem that hard. Anyway. All right, let's get into the news worth knowing. God, that was boring. Now, I don't want to hear anybody complaining, well, you never did it. I'd rather talk about Heroes Unlimited. Role-playing games. Anyway. All right, so Georgia Court, here's some Trump dates. We're going to give you some Trump dates. So Georgia Court of Appeals to review Trump's bid to disqualify DA Fani Willis. You know what fanny means in England? You know what fanny means in England? Nope. It's not butt. That's what it means in America. That's the second one, yeah. That thing. So it's close to the butt. On some people. Half of people. The Georgia Court of Appeals has agreed to review former President Donald Trump's application to appeal Judge Scott McAfee's ruling to keep embattled Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis on the case. That's a cumbersome sentence right there. Judge McAfee's order in March said that Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade had to be removed in order to keep Willis from disqualification in the Trump election interference case in Georgia. Willis and Wade were alleged to have an improper affair. Air quotes. Trump said several co-defendants alleged Willis and Wade were romantically involved prior to his hiring and that she financially benefited from the relationship. Both Willis and Wade denied those allegations. Judge McAfee allowed the defense to appeal his ruling, and the appeals court announced on Wednesday that they will hear the defense's case to still have Willis disqualified. Quote, President Trump looks forward to presenting interlocutory, I don't know that word, interlocutory arguments into the Georgia Court of Appeals as to why the case should be dismissed and Fulton County DA Willis should be disqualified for her misconduct in this unjustified, unwarranted political persecution, Trump lawyer Steve Sadow said in a statement. Alliteration. The court date has not yet been set. McAfee's ruling, the court date hasn't been set. So, yeah, this is probably going to be past the election. McAfee's ruling in March said that the defendants failed to meet their burden of proving that the district attorney acquired an actual conflict of interest in this case, though a personal relationship and recurring travels with their lead prosecutor. However, the established record now highlights a significant appearance of impropriety that infects the current structure of the prosecution team, an appearance that must be removed through the state's selection of the one of two options, he wrote, adding that Willis and her whole office can choose to step aside or Wade can withdraw from the case. The co-defendants had alleged that Willis benefited financially by hiring Wade because they were both in a pre-existing relationship when he was hired in 2021, and they would vacation together. Both Wade and Willis denied they were in a romantic relationship prior to this hiring, and that the couple would split the cost of their shared travels. Willis said she reimbursed Wade for her share of the trips in cash.
You mispronounced but.
Yeah, I doubt it. Yeah, she gave with ass. She meant ass. I paid it back in ass. Oh man. So we all know, like, these people are just corrupt, ridiculously corrupt, and they're corrupt, and they think they can get away with it because they're going after Trump. You know, and it's funny. I think this case is about the documents. Right? The Georgia case is about his documents, I believe. And every piece of news about this particular prosecution is about these two. All right? I haven't seen many news stories at all about Trump's documents case. Everything about this case I hear about is about these two and their corruption. So this is like ridiculous. I can't believe they're still going to go through with all this stuff like that. I mean, they got Trump stuck in New York. Probably for the summer, you know, with the nonsense that, what's her name? Stormy Daniels would say it. Smack me with a rolled up Forbes magazine. Don't know, put that Maxim bullshit down. You smack Donald Trump's ass with Forbes, damn it. You know, and that's all fun for the Democrats to play with, but they don't understand is like they are like straight up pushing him into the White House. Because everyone could see this nonsense. Anyway. Let's go on to that Stormy Daniels thing. So CNN legal analyst stunned by Stormy Daniels admitting that she hates Trump in her testimony. I don't even want to say what he said. It's ridiculous. CNN legal analyst Ellie Honig said the cross-examination of adult film actress and Trump trial witness Stormy Daniels after her testimony against former President Trump was a disaster. While Honig said that Daniels' testimony about a sexual encounter with Trump in a hotel room in 2006 was plausible, her responses under cross-examination by the Trump's team called her credibility into question. Her responses were disastrous, Honig said, referring to the moment when Daniels admitted that she hates Trump. That's a big deal, Honig said. Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsified business records in the first degree. The charges stem from a years-long investigation by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The charges are related to alleged payments made ahead of the 2016 presidential election to silence Daniels about the 2006 extramarital affair with Trump. Does he get that money back? When the witness hates the person who is at liberty, whose liberty is at stake, that's a big dick deal, I guess. I hate that. I hate that phrase. I hate that like big dick energy.
Big damn deal?
I don't think they wouldn't censor damn. Big dick deal. I hate that. Honig said he's putting out tweets fantasizing. She's putting out tweets fantasizing about him being in jail. That really undermines the credibility. Yeah. Daniels has made multiple posts about Trump on social media, including writing that she will go to jail before she pays a penny to Trump. The fact that she owes him $500,000 by order of court owes Donald Trump $500,000, and I said, I will never pay him. I'll defy a court order. The defense is going to say she's willing to defy a court order. She's not willing to respect an order from a judge. Why am I going to respect this? Why is she going to respect this oath she took? So I thought it went quite poorly on the cross-examination. I think the cross made a real inroads, Honig added. The Trump campaign did not respond to a request for comment from Fox News Digital. Why would they? Why would you say something when you're way ahead? And so now this case is falling apart. It made them crazy. He made them crazy. It's astounding. Between that and COVID, a lot of people went nuts. Anyway. So let's go to this next story. FedEx Airlines. Boeing made plane forced to land in Istanbul without front wheels. Gavin McInnes would call this the competency crisis. So a FedEx Airlines cargo plane that was forced to land in Turkey without the use of its front landing gear on Wednesday morning, the Turkish Transport Ministry said. FedEx Express Flight 6268 from Boeing 767 was flying from Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport and to Istanbul Airport when it was informed that Turkish traffic tower control that its landing gear failed to open. Airport rescue and fire teams prepared the runway, and the tower instructed the plane's crew to proceed with the landing. I'm spitting like crazy today. Video of the landing, obtained by Reuters, showed sparks and smoke coming from the front of the plane as it scraped along the runway before coming to a stop. The plane was subsequently doused with firefighting foam. A lot of alliteration today. No one was injured, the ministry. That's good. Landing video showed the front wheels were initially deployed, but appeared to fail to lock in place. They were not used during the landing of the body, and the plane made contact with the runway. The aircraft managed to remain on the runway during the landing. Runway is temporarily closed to air traffic, but traffic on the other runways continued without interruption, said airport operator IGA. Reuters reported. Authorities are investigating the incident. A Turkish Transport Ministry official said it gave no reason for the failure. Boeing 767 is nearly a 10-year-old freighter. It's one of the most common cargo planes uses this model dating back to the 1980s. FedEx said in a statement to Reuters that he was coordinating with the investigation and would provide additional information as it is available. Fox Business reached out to Boeing, who deferred statements to FedEx. Manufacturers are typically not involved with the operation or maintenance of aircraft after they enter service. Boeing has remained under intense media scrutiny following the series of incidents with the aircraft in recent months. So people say, like, oh, Boeing, there's parts falling off of Boeing craft all the time. Yeah, but I mean, if like FedEx is responsible for maintaining and, that's a competency that's happening. That's an incompetency issue that's happening everywhere, not just at Boeing, but at FedEx and, Google and all these other places, DEI didn't earn it. All right, let's talk about the Boy Scouts. Thirsty. Boy Scouts of America making this big change to be more inclusive. For the first time in history, the Boy Scouts of America is set to change its name as it seeks to foster a more inclusive organization. The rebranding will go into effect on February 8th, 2025, the organization's 115th anniversary. when it will become known as Scouting America. Officials say the name change aims to make everyone feel welcome, while the move is also being seen as an attempt to move on from bankruptcy following a flood of sexual abuse claims. Last year, BSA agreed to pay $2.46 billion to settle claims by some 82,000 former Boy Scouts who have said they have been sexually abused by BSA officials and volunteers. The bankruptcy reorganization plan took effect last year, allowing the organization to keep operating. Though our name will be new, our mission will remain unchanged. We are committed to teaching young people to be prepared for life, said Roger A. Crone, the president and chief executive officer of the BSA. This will be simple, but a very important evolution that we seek to ensure that everyone feels welcome in Scouting. The organization, which is steeped in tradition, has made seismic changes after decades of turmoil, from finally allowing gay youth and welcoming girls into its ranks. With an eye on increasing flagging membership numbers, the Irving, Texas-based organization announced the name change on Tuesday at its annual meeting in Florida. You remember Canteen Boy, Adam Sandler, on SNL? The Canteen Boy is always with the Boy Scouts, and the Alec Baldwin would hit on him and stuff. You ever been with a man, Canteen Boy? You know, stuff like that, you know. That's the whole Boy Scout pedo thing. That's been a joke for a long, long time, you know. I'll tell you that, you know, that's obviously a very big issue, and it's why I did not continue in the Boy Scouts. It's why I didn't like Boy Scouts. It's like I knew that was like kind of at first I don't like clubs, you know. I mean, even when like BJ's, you know, came to town, I was like, you membership? No, I'll just go to Walmart. I don't like clubs, and so it's because of stuff like that happens in them, you know. And I think that's a big issue when it comes to I don't know. I think it's when any time where adults are watching children, you know, that's a big issue. But I noticed that the Girl Scouts of America isn't changing their name. You know, supposedly that's still about girls, and I'm guessing it's also trans women, trans girls, or whatever too. I'm sure, you know. And the reason why the Boy Scouts of America they've been flagging numbers, it's because of all the pedo jokes. Number one. Number two is like you start letting in gays, you start letting in women into the Boy Scouts. You know, all the real boys who want to learn a real man's skills go somewhere else to learn that. You know, and so it's basically you hollowed out what this organization used to be. It used to be an organization to train young boys how to deal with the wilderness, how to survive on their own, you know, against the elements of this earth that we live in. You know, they're important skills. And yeah, you know, they're bad touches, it's stuff that happened, but you know, the overall purpose was a good thing. But then they say, oh, well, you can't have an organization that says it makes you swear a duty to God. You know, that's offending the Satanists in the group, you know what I mean? And they start taking stuff like that out. So we got to start letting, promoting the minorities, you know, to Eagle Scout more often, you know, or something like that. We got to let girls in to the Boy Scouts to make it more inclusive, you know. And like I said, the Girl Scouts of America is still the same thing, you know. They're allowed to have their little space, but when it comes to boys, when it comes to men in this country, and if I could be more specific, white men in this country, they are not allowed to have their own space. There's no longer a place for young boys, you know. Because boys are what? Boys are bad. Boys are bad. And that's why that gets hollowed out. That's why the Boy Scouts gets hollowed out before the Girl Scouts. Girl Scouts is going to happen too as well.
Is the YMCA...
Is the YMCA what?
Still... Does the M still stand for men's?
Yeah, young men, I think so. We can look it up. YMCA? Young men's... What does it stand for? Just Village People videos popping up, that's all. No, I don't want to... YMCA meaning of young men's Christian organization. Yeah, it's still the same. That's good. But still, you got the whole Village People thing. For some reason, like these clubs for men, the whole gay angle really ruins everything. Yeah, so, yeah, I was out of the Boy Scouts in like the 80s. I was like, nah, I don't like this. I don't like where it's going. I particularly didn't like the military aspects of it. You know, it almost felt like a militia a little bit. And, but like I said, that was the 80s. That was before it all started really changing. They said, well, you know, we got to have a kid in a wheelchair in every troop and so forth. And just, what have they done? I'm that old. What have they done to my country? All right, let's get into two lighter stories and cut out of here early today. What do you say? You good with that? I'm going to skedaddle. Vamoose. Egress. Reddit users urge man to divorce his wife after psychic interferes with his marriage. Reddit user following through with divorcing his wife after her psychic friend falsely informed her that he was cheating. This is from the Am I the Asshole forum. Am I the asshole for refusing to consider stopping our divorce after my ex admitted her psychic friend lied about me having an affair? Asked Reddit user. Anyway, on Friday made third post on Reddit's Am I the Asshole subreddit. In the post, he said he met his wife Rana in college and that he made the obviously terrible assumption that she... I read the whole sentence. Hold on. Let me get through it. He met his wife Rana in college and that he made the obviously terrible assumption that the fact that she was in post-secondary education meant she had a modicum of common sense. Yeah, that's colleges now, man. Okay. The couple lived together for 2 years before marrying, and at their wedding, he said he met a friend of Rana's, Anna, and he wrote in the post, at our wedding, I met an old friend of hers, Anna. She offered to read my palm since she was part gypsy, he said, which he found weird. That is weird. That is weird. I'm in construction, and I know a few people from that group, and they call themselves Roma, he said. Exactly. Anna said is a seamstress. Anna is a seamstress in New York City, does not frequently visit. He and his wife only saw her maybe 4 times during the last 2 years, most recently during Labor Day of 2023. And that's when it got weird. All of a sudden, Rana started acting oddly, he said. She starts checking in on me at work, coming by when I'm working late. Asks me to use my phone because hers is almost out of power, that sort of thing. Eventually, Rana accused him of having an affair, which he thought was a joke. I laughed and I said, I'm not. He said, and this sets her off like a Roman candle. You mean a Roma candle? Because Anna told her that I would laugh it off when Rana... Anna told her I would laugh it off when Rana came for the truth. This conniving... Anyway. So he laughed. He revealed after the concept of him having an affair was ridiculous due to his work schedule and the fact that he's with his wife most of the time when he's not at work. And most important of all, I love my wife. I wouldn't do anything to harm her. That's all you really need to say. And yet she takes the word of Anna, the psychic seamstress, over mine. Rana then proceeded to ask the guy, I don't want to read his whole handle, Grape Ape 6969, to move out, and he refused as he had nowhere else to go. Instead, Rana moved in with her parents. They think she is nuts too, he wrote. Dodging the bullet, man. He spent the next few months attempting to convince his wife that he was not having an affair. Rana's family kept quiet about the situation until Christmas when they had an intervention. He detailed in the post. They said my wife was having a break from reality and she wasn't coming out of it. My dad told me to give my head a shake, which he only does when I am being monumentally stupid. Wow. In January, he began the process of getting a divorce. 3 months later, Rana calls me to talk. Turns out she and her parents had hired a private detective to find my affair. 6 months and a huge bill later, zero evidence of an affair, he said. She finally believes me and wants to come home. Having none of it, he told the woman that that their lease was up in July and he would be moving to Denver to be closer to his family. She said she would come with me. I respectfully declined. I told her we just weren't right for each other. The truth is, I do not want to have any offspring that share DNA with this dingbat. I appreciate your candor, sir. Rana's family, however, is upset that he is moving ahead with the divorce. Her family has approached me several times. The last time her dad offered to front us a 25% down payment on a house if I agreed to go to marriage counseling instead of leaving. I politely declined. I cannot be bought. Meanwhile, Rana is now depressed, but I see no way of ever trusting her again. She is young enough she can marry again and wreck some other guy's life. So he asked others, am I the asshole? And then people, no, sir, you are not the asshole. She's the asshole because she couldn't fathom that a friend would be lying to her. You know, women eat up that whole psychic palm reading stuff the most. They are the ones who believe in that nonsense. All right. And when it comes to Anna telling Rana that your husband's having an affair, there's something going on in Anna's life. All right. And that's something her friend should have recognized about Anna. It's like, why are you saying some obvious nonsense? My husband would never cheat on me. Why are you, it's like, but I'm psychic. It must be true. It's like, no, there's something going on in your life, Anna, to make you want to sabotage the relationship of your friend. You know, and there are women who do this. Women are incredibly cruel, especially to each other. All right. And maybe she's jealous of Rana that she's having a happy marriage. And because she's this flaky, hippie, psychic person, she can't hold down a relationship. And so she's angry at her friend for having such a good life because she's not a wispy flake. You know what I mean? And so she wants to undermine her. Anyway. But yes, stay away from crazy people. All right. A happy story about kittens. Kittens dropped off at an Arizona Humane Society turned out to be something else. Wait a minute. The Arizona Humane Society is warning people to be certain that baby animals are actually orphans before attempting to rescue them. What? Uh-oh. And to be sure of the species of the animal. Last week, a Good Samaritan found a den behind their shed full of tiny baby animals. Jennifer Armbruster, senior manager of the public relations of the Arizona Humane Society, told Fox News Digital via email. The Good Samaritan, not knowing what else to do, brought the critters to the Arizona Humane Society, thinking they were domestic animals in need of help. There, it was quickly discovered that these animals were not typical house pets. They were baby foxes. Tiny babies were transferred to the Southwest Wildlife Conservation Center, which identified them as gray foxes, where they will undergo rehabilitation and be released to the wild when they are old enough to be on their own. They don't even really look like cats. They look more like canines. Anyway, she continued, the story also serves as an important reminder to animal mothers offer the chance of survival for one of these little ones like these, especially as spring is known as kitten season. Yeah, you probably stole them from a mom. Came back, where'd my kids go? Well-meaning people are often attempt to aid litters of kittens they encounter, said Armbruster. However, this is typically not necessary. Human intervention is typically not required. The best thing we can do is leave the kittens alone. The mother cat will likely return to her babies before too long. It is critical that the kittens remain in her care, and she offers the best chance for survival. Rather than immediately intervene, a person should instead keep an eye on the kittens. If after 8 hours without their mom, then it's likely the kittens are orphaned. Arizona Humane Society and other animal organizations offer care and place kits for underage orphan kittens to be cared for by those who find them until they are old enough to be spayed or neutered. If, as in the case of the Good Samaritan from earlier, a person were to come across a litter of wild animals with no mother in sight, it is best to contact Wildlife Rehabilitation Organization. Gray foxes are commonly found throughout the United States, and so the website for Arizona Sonora Desert Museum. Typically grow to be about 4 or 5 pounds, about a foot tall at the shoulder. Female foxes typically have litter size of 3 to 7 kits. So, yeah, be careful. It's springtime. It's that time of year, like the animals are popping out their litters and so forth. And I know that, like, there's maybe Google, what does a kitten look like? What does a baby fox look like? If you before you scoop them up and take them to the Humane Society, do a Google search. you know, at the very least. Generally, you know, this is something that you would, I don't know, you could learn something about this maybe, I don't know, in the Boy Scouts. You know, in the Boy Scouts, you may learn is like you find a litter of baby mammals. Don't touch them for a while. Make sure, you know, make sure no one's coming back for them before you scoop them up. You know, you don't want to get involved if you don't have to. And it's funny, they keep calling this person Good Samaritan in this article because we know you had the best intentions, but you did a really dumb thing. You stole foxes there's some fox one or other. Where's my kids? Somebody kidnapped my children. You know, hunting down vans around the neighborhood. You got my kids? You've been giving candy to my foxes? You know, generally you're not supposed to do that. You know, like I said, it's like there's some things that you don't need to bring the law or the Humane Society into. You know, you can handle them yourself. You can handle them as thinking adults, you know? Why do you think, I mean, just do a quick Google search. What do baby kittens look like? It's like, well, that doesn't look like this picture, so I don't think those are kittens. Maybe it's something else. However, you do not want foxes in your neighborhood. That being said, I'm not saying you should kill their offspring, the little baby foxes. Anyway. Ugh. Real dark turn for the end of the show, because this is the end of the show. Maybe we'll pull down the green screen next week. I don't know how much you guys like this. It's something different, I guess. So I want to remind you again that I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. You can also send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word. You can also follow me on social media, at Denolitsaw, that's the word wasteland spelled backwards, on Twitter, Shock Monkey Radio Redux on Facebook, and at SLRobbins13 on the Instagrams. I also have books available for digital download. Search for the author Scott L. Robbins with 2 T's and 2 B's on Amazon.com. I got the Exit 13 series, The Ravings of a Madman, and The Bunny Years, a memoir. Or you could just follow the links down in the description below. This has been Shock Monkey Radio. I'm the Madman, and I love you.